Now back to the president's immigration changes. Stephen Miller is the senior policy advisor to President Trump and also the president's primary speechwriter. He formerly served as communications director to Senator Jeff Sessions. He's with us from the White House. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. We look forward to this conversation and understanding exactly what you are doing and what you intend to do in addition to that. Let me start with a question. It's been described as enormously successful, yet there are protests. I'm looking at paper headlines. Trump stands by orders, confusion, dissent, swirl. Immigration order sows chaos. Travel ban sets off chaos and turmoil. Help me square hugely successful and chaos and turmoil.
Well, I think anytime you do anything hugely successful that challenges a failed orthodoxy, you're going to see protests. In fact, if nobody's disagreeing with what you're doing, then you're probably not doing anything that really matters in the scheme of things. But the idea of huge turmoil, we processed 325,000 travelers through our airports in the first 24 hours after the new restrictions were put into place, and 109 were detained for additional security screening. By any measure, I would describe that as efficient, orderly, enormously successful, and really I would like to, on behalf of the White House, praise the hard work of the Customs and Border Protection officers who implemented the order.
All right, my follow-up question to this is this. Are you intending to add countries, witness Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, maybe others, in the near future?
Well, what we're going to do, and I'm really glad that you asked this question, is we're going to take the next 30 days to develop a new set of screening protocols to try and ensure that people entering our country, particularly on a permanent basis, truly love and support the United States of America. There will be a 60-day period where countries will be asked to comply with the new directives. Countries that are in compliance will have regular, routine, and ordinary migration with the United States. And they'll make a determination about how to appropriately handle those countries that are not in compliance. But Charlie, in a world with 7 billion people, in a world in which hundreds of millions of people would like to make America their home, it only makes sense that we engage in some kind of selections process that prioritizes the entry of people who, as the order stated, don't hold bigotry, hatred, or violence against any sexual orientation, against any race, or against any particular class of people.
Stephen, I've read through this executive order. There's no explicit mention of green card holders or legal permanent residents. As you know, the Department of Homeland Security on Saturday said that it does apply to those green card holders. Then the White House Chief of Staff said it doesn't apply to them. Does this suggest there was a great deal of confusion, that you didn't properly communicate this order?
No, the guidance has been continuous throughout, and I've spoken directly with folks at DHS and that state, and the guidance has never changed. And the immigration order, as you know, discusses immigrants and non-immigrants. And that means people who are entering on a permanent basis and people who are entering on a temporary basis. And the guidance has always been the same. People who hold American green cards who are overseas are exempt under the national interest waiver in the executive order and will be processed through. Yeah. Everyone who's applied for such a waiver has received a waiver and are therefore exempt under the order, and for that reason are not covered by it.
Stephen, help us understand how this is keeping America safe.
Well, these 7 countries were identified by the Obama administration as countries of particular concern. Our immigration officers, caseworkers, and vetting agents have to pour through hundreds of thousands of applications on a regular basis.
But the Obama administration didn't call for a ban, Stephen. They didn't call for a ban.
The Obama administration didn't do a lot of things. The Obama administration, and I don't want to get into a fight with them, but they left our borders fairly open, and there were many, unfortunately, preventable deaths as a result of that in many different areas, including sanctuary cities, including non-enforcement of removal orders, including the failure to repatriate criminal aliens. And I don't recall any of those being major stories on many networks in this country when innocent people died because we didn't follow the rules. But my point to you today is that when you have to screen hundreds of thousands of people day after day for entry into the United States, it only makes sense that when you're establishing new vetting procedures that you try to minimize the burden by reducing migration from the most dangerous areas identified by the administration until a better screening system is put into place.
I apologize. We are hitting a hard break.
And we look forward to having you back.